What's up, you crazy savages? Terrence Pop here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And today we're going to be covering all of the crazy shit that's going on in regards to Ukraine and Israel. And I just saw on the news that we formally basically did airstrikes in Syria. So we'll see what happens with that. The individuals that I've been dealing with have been letting me know that basically if Iran gets stupid, we are definitely going to get involved in this. And then from there, it's going to go off the hook. Just so you guys are prepared for that. Okay. And I know a lot of people are like, what's going on in Israel and all other craziness? Well, as I think it was about 36 hours ago, Israel reported somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,700 casualties so far. That's like anywhere from 50 to 55 a day. And if you do the 2/3, 1/3 rule, basically 1/3 of that 1,700 basically kicked their air addiction, and the rest are just wounded and tore up to various degrees. All right, now there's all kinds of dirty tricks going on in Gaza. The tunnels everywhere. There's, storage facilities dug in there underneath hospitals and schools and what have you. And I made the prediction a couple weeks back in regards to Israel facing a Mount Sarabachi kind of situation like we did in Guadalcanal during World War II. And that entire island was covered with bunkers and tunnels and what have you. And it took 2 or 3 months total, I believe, to pacify that entire island, which wasn't that big. And we did take significantly higher, I believe it was significantly higher casualties than several of the other island operations, meaning the other island operations took heavy casualties on day 1 and part of day 2, and then it just kind of tapered off because they were met with initial stiff resistance. And after that was done, it was done. Where in the Mount Sarabachi, Guadalcanal, the casualties really didn't, hit too high on day 1, but after that, it got just all kinds of crazy. And, it's really hard for me to really get a good, accurate take of what's going on in either Ukraine or Israel at this time, mainly because our mainstream media is owned by 6 corporations, and they're really only telling you what they want you to know. They're not really telling you the truth. And I've looked at news outlets in Europe, Al Jazeera. I know it's weird. I do look at the Israel news, stations or what have you. That's going to be highly skewed with propaganda as well. So you have to take everything with a grain of salt and do your best to make educated guesses. And in the past several months, I got all kinds of questions in regards to Ukraine's casualties and Russians' casualties. Typically, the casualties inflicted by Ukraine are going to be inflated, and the casualties that they took are going to be deflated to a certain degree. Rule of thumb, 20 to 30% will pretty much get you in the ballpark to the real numbers. So now that you've watched this, just keep that little bit of information in the back of your head. So when you hear numbers on the news, you can go, okay, 50,000, let's take 30% off that. It's more like 35 to 38,000, along those lines. All right. Now it is Wednesday. And since we're covering these subjects, there's not going to be a briefing at the end, mainly because, it's kind of hard to put a comedic twist on this kind of shit because people are dying out there, and we're possibly looking at World War III. I know everyone's like, "Oh, Pop, you need to chill out. Stop using these alarming terms." All right. My ESP has been telling me for years that in my lifetime, I am going to see a nuclear warhead used in anger again. All right. Now, is that 100% that it's going to happen? No. But my gut is telling me at some point it is going to take place. And we have China on deck. Their economy is imploding. They are desperate to maintain their power or whatever they got going on. One of the best ways to do that is to have a war. And same thing here in the United States. We got basically a Senate and a House that has the lowest acceptance rates since we started counting. And our dictator in chief is embroiled in actual, I shouldn't say actual, suspected treason and corruption. It's being blocked at every turn. And one of the ways that they probably want to maintain power is kick off a war and then deny elections. I mean, Ukraine's already doing that. I watched the video of the guy in Ukraine telling that having an election now is not a wise idea, basically saying it's not having an election, and he's begging for more money. All right. It is what it is. Now, I am going to say this again. I am not an anti-Semite. I am pro-American, meaning I don't fucking care about either side in the Israel conflict. The Palestinians, the Israelis, I literally don't fucking care. It's not my fight. All right. It is what it is. I don't have any skin in the game. But what I will tell you is I'm sick and tired of paying for it. Straight up. We give Israel billions of dollars every single year. All right. We've already forked out over 100 billion to the Ukraine so they can defend their borders, but we can't secure our own southern border. I'm hearing all kinds of reports from my contacts down there that they are picking up people on the terrorist watch list. They are picking up, high-ranking narco individuals, not at the top, but individuals who are involved in a lot of that stuff. They're getting picked up. They're having, some exchange of gunfire from time to time from over the border with Mexico. All right. It's just absolutely insane, and we're going to talk about it tonight. So Blake is in here. Jimmy in the house.
Yep. What's going on, my riggers?
All right. I ran my mouth for, a good 10 minutes or so.
That's all good, Pop. There were some folks in the chat there correcting you. Sarabachi was at Iwo Jima.
Iwo
not
Jima.
Guadalcanal.
Sorry. Right.
Same thing. Same difference.
I got you. I guess Guadalcanal was early on in the island hopping campaign, and Iwo Jima was towards the end. So, yeah, there you go.
Yep, I believe so.
I stand corrected.
Stand corrected. But we'll just jump right into it. Going to cover the Ukraine stuff because that seems to be been swept under the rug after all the new craziness has popped up. Fun times.
Yep.
But tensions grow in Kiev over the status of war as Zelensky insists conflict with Russia is not a stalemate.
Well, it certainly looks like one to me when you look at the map.
Yep. Apparent decisions between Ukrainian president and his military commander are becoming increasingly public after a bitter back and forth over the state of play in the war with Russia. Igor Zhovchka, the deputy head of Zelensky's office, on Saturday condemned an assessment by Ukraine's military chief that the war in Russia is at a stalemate, deepening the feud in Kiev, which has highlighted nerves about Western support in the conflict.
And I believe we just had a high-ranking individual in the Ukraine military establishment who was basically assassinated on his fucking birthday. That just happened a few days ago.
Yep, I believe I heard that one. He was responding to an interview with military chief Valery Zalzuchny, who told The Economist on Wednesday that we have reached a level of technology that puts us into a stalemate, and there will most likely be no deep and beautiful breakthrough in the war.
No, and remember they were talking about the spring counteroffensive, and it literally didn't go anywhere. So
Nope.
There you go.
That, and they were also talking about the spring offensive and the summer offensive and the fall counterattacks. And I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm not seeing results.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's a bunch of word salad and soft shoe dancing. Now, if Russia actually was able to get air superiority over Ukraine, this would be over by now. But since they can't do it, they're basically falling back on Russia's tried and true measure of ground and pound. And I've been saying it from the beginning that the longer this goes on, the greater chance Russia will actually, prevail just because of the ground and pound. It's really hard to deal with.
Yep. I'm going to go out on a limb and just say that they may or may not resort to the World War II tactics of just sending wave after wave after wave of men and just beating them down.
They have done that, and there are reports that there is a second line behind the primary line that shoots individuals who are, basically retreating. All right, that is not good for morale, and that doesn't go anywhere good. You could not get away with that in the American Army.
No. That would be very bad. Let's see. They continue here. People are tired. Everyone is tired. There are different opinions. Everyone is human, regardless of status. This is not a stalemate. I emphasize this once again. We have already talked about this. This is not some kind of news, Zelensky said. We all need to get together and resolve the issues, work more on our partners' air defense, unblock the skies, and enable our guys to take offensive actions. This is what we need to think about. Only about this, not about where we will be tomorrow, but now.
Well, of course, he's not going to call it a stalemate. He needs all kinds of support from various, European nations plus the United States to, keep up the offensive against the Russians. And here's another piece of information that's come across my my desk in the past few days. Now, this is not actually confirmed, but I did get this information from two individuals, and it's fairly close. Meaning the average age of the people on the line in Ukraine is 42. What does that say? All right, if this is true, what that tells me is Ukraine has burned through an entire generation and a half of men. Think about that. Typically, the guys on the front line are 18 to 24. Now you got guys on the line who are almost 2 times that age.
Yep.
There you go. This is kind of creepy.
Yep. And some of them have been issued weaponry from World War II.
Yes. There are many Mosin Nagant bolt-action rifles, which, if you get a good one and the barrel's not worn out, is not a bad deer rifle. You can hit decent targets out to 400, 500 meters, no problem. You're going to get, maybe if you get a really good one, 3/4 to 1 mil of accuracy, meaning, you're not really going to be able to shoot effectively and, be precise beyond 600 or 700 meters. Could be wrong. It is what it is. But I fired the Mosin Nagant many times. I used to own two of them before I had a tragic boating accident. So I fired them quite a bit, and they both were fairly accurate if I was using Western ammo. If I was using the Russian ammo, the shot group would open up. So there's that. I have seen pictures of World War I Vickers machine guns, Maxim machine guns out there. Word on the street is literally there was a couple of museums in Ukraine that they basically took a lot of the equipment out of, and it's on the front line right now. So you are correct in that statement there, Jimmy.
Yep. It's quite the nut roll that they got going on over there, and I don't see that situation getting unfucked anytime soon.
No.
It's only getting worse.
Yep.
Let's see. Zelensky continues here. Nobody believes in our victory like I do. Nobody. It's because no one's really winning in that situation.
Well, listen, he has to win or he's fucked. Russia is not going to roll in there and go, well, you put up a good fight. Now just go back to your office. A dude's going to get hung or shot. Probably shot.
Yep. He will be the cherry on the mass grave Sunday.
Yes, he will.
Not going to be good. Of course, we let loose out of events in the Middle East. People are dying, and the world's help is needed there to save lives. He added those comments during von der Leyen's Saturday trip to Kiev. Oh, and speaking of people taking trips to Ukraine, apparently our wonderful Secretary of Transportation is over there right now.
Yep.
For reasons I have no idea why.
It's probably something nefarious that they're not going to tell us about, just like 85% of the shit the government does.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
The Ukrainian leader has previously expressed solidarity with Israel in the wake of the October 7th Hamas attacks, recommending that the world leaders go to Israel and offer support to the people who have been under terrorist attacks.
All right. Now, here's the thing. We have literally cleaned out all of our old stock ammunition and sent it to the Ukraine. All right. For those of you that don't know, whenever the government rolls out a piece of ammunition, the clock starts. If it's high explosive or it has circuitry or anything like that, it has a exceptionally limited shelf life. Ammunition, for the most part, small arms, medium, ammunition, you can keep them on the shelf for quite some time. But usually 155 rounds are rotated out, I believe, every decade to 12 years. Stinger missiles have a shelf life, I believe, 4 to 5 years, and you can extend it 2 to 3 if you do certain, servicing on it. Bottom line is, when the ammo or whatever you're using gets towards that, use by end date, we sell it, trade it, or give it away to our allies. But you only have so much of that. All right. Rumor is they're busting their hump trying to make new ammunition to replenish the stocks that we've sent over to Ukraine. That means if we send stuff to Israel, it's actually going to be unexpired stuff that we need for our own defense. That, and for sending that shit over there, if we're going to do that, that is absolute horseshit. Like I said, I'm tired of fucking paying for it. If Israel wants it, they buy it from us. I have no problem with that. I'll sell it to them. I'll sell it to anyone for the most part. But I'm tired of giving it away. Like I said, and I'm sure most of you out there agree, we're sick of fucking paying for it. We don't hate anybody, but we're tired of paying for it.
Yep. kind of getting tired of signing off on IOUs for billions of dollars of military equipment. But well, it's sometimes not going where it's supposed to be going.
Yeah.
So that's fun times. But just to bring up a live look at what's been going on over there. Ukraine-Russian war. Putin sees 200 armored vehicles wiped out in Donbass battle.
Okay. Now that's a number in the news. So let's take 20% or 30% off of that. So it's like 140 vehicles. That's still a lot of vehicles.
Yeah.
But it's not 200.
Yep. This is from 3 days ago, so it's quite new.
Mm-hmm.
The key points they want to cover here is these 200 armored vehicles wiped out. Take your 30% off that. Zelensky denies war has reached a stalemate. Just covered that. EU will stand behind Ukraine for, quote, as long as it takes.
Well, I'm going to be honest. The EU talks a big game, but when the United States quits supporting it, so will they.
Yep. That's another thing we need to stop funding is the EU and the UN.
Yeah, they are fucking useless.
Yeah, because what is our bill for paying for the UN? Aren't we? We are like the major
contributor
contributor. That's where I was looking for to the UN, and not seeing the repayments or dividends from all that good stuff. Let's continue here. Putin's assault on Donbass town flounders. Russian forces hit civilian targets near Kharkiv, Ukrainian officials say. And Ukraine suffers most intense bombardment of shelling in a single day this year.
Okay. Again, that's part of Russia's ground and pound. They literally bring their artillery up and pound the shit out of you. And then when they weaken you enough, then they move forward. And they repeat the process.
Yep. And they got a few more key points here. Zelensky invited Trump to Ukraine. It's not going to happen, seeing as Trump can't leave the country because of the stupidity going on in New York City.
Correct. And listen, that just points a huge red flag at Zelensky, how desperate he is.
Yep. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, Trump says, oh yeah, I could stop this war in 24 hours." I'm sorry, man, but no, you can't.
He probably could have got it shut down, towards the beginning, but there's too many people have been killed, too much infrastructure destroyed that you're not stopping it till they run out of gas. Pretty much what I'm saying.
Yep. Let's see. Russian drone attack damages 124-year-old art gallery in Odessa.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's whatever. Putin to run again for president in 2024. Shocker. This was a big one. Russia test launches ICBM from a new nuclear submarine.
Say that again.
Russia test launches intercontinental ballistic missile from new nuclear submarine.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about boomers, and I'm not talking about like the old people. I'm talking about the big subs that have nuclear missiles and they have all the cruise missile shit on them. Now, in the news, there are 2 aircraft carriers in that general vicinity. Aircraft carriers don't show up by themselves. There's a whole flotilla of ships that accompany them. Usually, it's a minimum of 1 sub, usually 2, with every aircraft, attack group. So if there are 2 aircraft carriers there, I would bet there's a minimum of 4 U.S. nuclear subs in the area as well. So there you go. You there?
Yep, I was just scrolling through the chats there, just
All
making
right.
sure I'm keeping up on everything. Let's see. Ukraine grain exports fall by a third.
That's actually going to go up
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot. Next year, it'll probably be, they'll be lucky to have half the exports that they had.
Yep. Zelensky sends condolences to, quote, fallen heroes killed in 128th Mountain Assault Brigade.
Okay.
Good for them. Zelensky says Israel-Gaza war is taking away focus from Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Because it is. Unfortunately, a lot of the individuals in Gen Z and what's the other one? Millennials. They have basically the attention span of an ant. So, yes, it is going to pull eyeballs away from the Ukraine, Russia bullshit. It's been going on for over a year. I think most of the people are tired of hearing about it, and they focus their attention to Israel because it's the new shiny war now.
Yep. That, and you have groups of idiots in the streets. You know, here in America, we're 6,000 miles away from that conflict, and we're seeing people getting beaten up, harassed, and just recently killed.
Yes.
For stating their opinions on the matter.
Correct.
So fun times indeed.
Like I get food at a Mediterranean place near here, and I walk in the other day to order chicken shawarma and some tabbouleh, and they're like, "So, you heard about the Israel war?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What side are you on?" I'm like, "I'm on nobody's side, and I'm sick of paying for it." And they weren't like happy at my answer, but they really weren't pissed at it either. So I got my food and I left.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm fucking tired of it.
Yep. Luckily, around my area, it's I live in bumfuck nowhere in Nebraska, so that's pretty chill around here. But
you're not getting nuked out there, so you should be okay.
Well, hopefully not.
Yeah, if they drop a 450 kiloton nuke on Detroit, more than likely I will cease to exist.
Oh, not good.
Nah. Hopefully I don't feel it.
Yeah. But yeah, they've got a lot of bullet points here. We don't need to cover up all of them or anything.
Listen, we're not here to read verbatim all the articles. We're just talking about the talking points, the major things.
Yep. And while we were talking about the Ukrainian soldiers, well, soldier admits we are losing war with Russia and troops starved of ammo.
Yep.
So that's usually what happens when war breaks out.
Well, no, that happens towards the end because it's a war of attrition, and sooner or later, one side runs out of shit. That's just the way it is. You run out of equipment, weapons, or men, or all three.
Yep. It's not going to be a good day for you when you run out of ammo.
And also, here's another thing. We've watched all kinds of footage of Ukrainians using drones to, insidious effectiveness. Literally dropping mortar rounds or grenades into tanks, fighting positions, what have you. All right. The same thing is happening in Israel. And I have no idea why they haven't put together some type of vehicle that jams the frequencies where you can control these drones so you can stop worrying about them. I don't understand why they haven't learned. I hope to God the United States is looking closely at this next generation warfare and putting pen to paper on a drawing board to build tools that will keep our soldiers from falling victim to this craziness.
Yep.
And I hope they're doing it. But now that we have this new crop of generals, I have no faith. Like literally, they could show up with rainbow clown wigs and I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it would be very bad.
Yes.
But let's see. Ukrainian casualties. Kiev is losing up to 200 troops a day. That is.
Is that from the BBC?
This one is from the BBC. Yep.
So, 200 troops a day. And how many days? It's been, what, 370, 390 days or something like that?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So, hang on. Let's just do some quick math here, because you know how I like numbers.
Yep.
200 times 396.
And I'm sure that number has gone up because this was from June of last year.
Well, they're saying, that would be 79,200 casualties. I think there's more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, they're downplaying the numbers, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not usually a good thing to be celebrating casualties of war.
Now, here's another thing. It's like most people don't understand how this works, right? All right. So you have two armies in trenches, probably 150 to 200 meters apart. And let's be honest, with today's day and age weapons, somebody sticks their head up, they're dead. You are not going to miss. Not at that range. Not to mention, Russia's got really good artillery, and, the Ukraine have the drones, and they do have a pretty good artillery capabilities because we provided most of those weapons to them. It's extremely deadly, extremely. And I myself would not want to be in that type of warfare environment. It's a waste of my talent. I would really do better as a scout or a sniper or something like that. But that's just me.
Yep.
All right.
But you did bring up the aid packages and the artillery and everything that we've been sent over there. Ukraine aid packages look like the biggest money laundering operation ever.
Because that's what they are.
Yep. Yeah, if you have not figured it out by now, I'm sorry, but you're not paying attention. Because we have Zelensky's son is enjoying his stay in South Beach in Florida.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
I've seen videos of yachts and mansions and very sporty luxury cars allegedly purchased by high-ranking Ukrainian officials.
All right. Now, listen. If you are laundering money, you don't flaunt it. All right. I am not even a criminal, and I know this. It's really infuriating that we have these individuals using stolen money, corrupt as hell, and then flaunting it under our noses in our own fucking country. That is disgraceful, in my opinion. And I hope to God there is a reckoning for this down the road relatively soon. I hope. Yep. All right, keep going. I'm sorry.
Yep. I believe everyone is entitled to write Ukraine in as a dependent on their taxes this year.
Ah, yeah.
Actually, don't do that because that's
and I've come across a couple of reports that somewhere between 20 and 40% of the money that we have sent over there, it can't be accounted for. So what does that tell you? We'll send you 1,000 if you send 200 back. Yeah.
What's the saying as 10% for the big guy?
Follow the money.
Yep.
It should not be this difficult to find out who's dipping their beak in the the company fund.
Yep.
I mean, it's a lot of goddamn money. It's hard to hide that kind of stuff, if it not impossible in today's day and age. Unless they convert it to physical fucking gold and then fly it over there and kick it out in buckets or something. But even then, there would still be somewhat of a paper trail.
Yep. And if you guys are on Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, follow Unusual Whales. Stock trader guy, kind of a not really an insider, but he gives a lot of information out about, oh, we'll see, things are kicking off over here. Well, let's see who in Congress has, purchased and sold stocks.
You know what? I'm gonna watch that guy's shit because I want to know that.
Yep, he was probably one of the first accounts that I started following because I was like, you know what? There's some shady shit going on. Who's getting rich? And he puts it out there because it's information that is readily available. And I'm surprised he has not, found himself on the wrong side of a shotgun twice.
Or, yeah, on the disappearing alphabet agency list.
Yeah.
There you go.
But we'll go back here. The fact sheet from the U.S. Security Assistance for Ukraine. This comes straight from the whitehouse.gov. This one is from March of 2022. So this is the one of the older packages that they sent in was 800 million. So that's 800 Stinger anti-aircraft systems, 2,000 javelins, 1,000 light anti-armor weapons, 6,000 AT-4s anti-armor systems. Oh, fun times.
Now, hang on. I'm not worried about the AT-4s because I'm sure they sent the old shit to them. The Stinger missiles, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, the AT-4s, I'm not sure. I can't really confirm nor deny this one, but I've seen videos of cartel gang members strutting around with an AT-4 on their shoulder.
Yep, I've seen that too.
Let's see. You got 100 tactical unmanned aerial systems, grenade launchers, rifles, pistols, machine guns, and shotguns.
Yep.
20 million rounds of small arms ammunition and grenade launcher and mortar rounds. Yeah, I mean, the list just goes on. And it is.
Yeah. Now, listen. I got it. They're getting invaded by Russia. Russia's one of our adversaries. And we sent stuff to them to aid them in the defense of Ukraine. More than likely, as a higher level thinker, somebody somewhere probably said, you know what? We could really weaken the shit out of Russia without actually using our own troops. Maybe they were thinking along those lines. I doubt it, but I'm holding out a little bit of hope.
Yep. But well, we'll pivot from one lovely event to the other one.
We're talking Israel.
And of course, we all know we just got a new Speaker of the House.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hype behind the guy, saying, "Oh yeah, he's America first, America first." Yeah, well, he's already on strike 2 for me, because the first thing that he said was, "We need to help fund Israel because they are our closest ally." Sorry, but that's strike 1.
Now, hang on. Let's reevaluate this whole closest ally stuff. All right. If we recall, we talked about the USS Liberty a couple shows back. And in the late 60s, during a kerfuffle between Israel and some of the other surrounding nations, we sent a spy ship out there to intercept transmissions or what have you, whatever they were doing back then. And Israel literally shot the shit out of them with 2 or 3 different jet fighters, dropped napalm on the ship, and it had to be towed out of the area by a Russian ship. And I believe 34 to 38 guys died, and there were somewhere between 70 and 90 individuals severely wounded. And then all of the survivors were basically threatened that they would lose their pension and get prosecuted if they talked about the incident. All right. I am not a fan. I am pissed off that that happened to fellow servicemen, and I don't care if it happened a year before I was born. It still fucking happened. All right. Now, Israel paid some of the survivors money, I believe in the 80s or something like that. But guess what? Go fuck yourself. You want to live in the Holy Land? Well, then you got to pay for the Holy Land price. And you should pay for it out of your own pockets. Like I've said before, I have nothing against them, but I'm tired of paying for it. And so should every American in this country. We are being bled dry funding the world, being a goddamn police force for the world. Fucking sick of it. And we need to take steps to stop this from happening forever. We've already been at war for like 22 goddamn years. When does it end? Somebody in the comments, let me know when it fucking ends. When they start dropping nukes? All right, because I'm telling you right now, if this country goes bankrupt and it turns into a chaotic kill fest, nobody is going to come to our aid. No one. So you need to be aware of this before you start saying, yeah, we should send people fucking money. No, we shouldn't. Plain and simple. All right.
And if one person starts dropping nukes, everybody's going to start dropping nukes. And I believe that's what they call mutual destruction.
Listen, if we start dropping nukes, Russia's going to drop nukes, China's going to go, India's going to get on it, Pakistan, hell, even Israel might, take a couple pot shots at some countries that they don't like. It's going to go off the hook. I won't survive it. A lot of us watching this show will not survive it. So we could quite literally, within 5 years, wind up living in the Stone Age or the Bronze Age again. I'm just saying.
Fun times. But yeah, I'll briefly go through this. That passed 226 to 196 along party lines. It goes up to $14.5 billion in military aid. Fun times. The package includes $4 billion to replenish Israel's Iron Dome and David Sling's missile defense system and military equipment transferred from U.S. stocks.
Yep. Yeah, I'm familiar with the rotation schedule of a lot of that shit because I knew a lot of supply guys in my career and a couple supply guys who ran ASPs, ammo supply points, and they literally had to track all of their ammo by date. And I'm trying to remember the exact time frame for different munitions, but I think I basically covered that when I was talking about that earlier. But we definitely do that. We rotate a lot of the old stuff out. So,
and it's going to be a little bit harder to get stuff out because apparently we had not too long ago, the other day, actually, a group of pro-Palestinians tried to block a U.S. military ship from continuing its mission to resupply.
Big mistake.
Yeah. It was quite interesting to hear that, and I was reading the article, watching the videos, and I was like, so none of them got shot, none of them got hauled away into the paddy wagons, none of them, nothing.
Yeah.
Of course not. That's because they can, those same individuals can go inside the halls of Congress and hoot and holler and pause proceedings, and they'll just get escorted out the building.
Correct. Nobody's getting thrown into, a solitary confinement for years on end. I mean, that's bullshit.
Yep. They're not getting, 17 years, even though one guy got 17 years for being in Baltimore.
Yep.
Everything's just fucking going to shit, and it's going there fast.
Yep.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. But on top of the Israel package, there's a Ukraine package that's 105 billion national security package. Biden requested.
$105 billion.
Yep.
We already have rampant inflation. It's going to get worse, especially because they just keep printing money and devaluing the value of the money that we have. This is absolute horse shit.
Yep. Now, remind me, why do we need to pay taxes when they can just print invisible money?
Yeah.
Just asking for a friend.
It's not going to last forever, man.
Nope. But of course, Biden administration on Friday laid out the details of a 105 billion national security package that includes military and humanitarian assistance for the conflicts in Ukraine and Israel.
All right. Now, listen, all right. I don't want to sound like an asshole here, but I'm just going to be a realist. All right. Aid packages. All right. There's organizations out there, we call them NGOs, non-government organizations, and that's all they specialize in is getting aid and what have you to individuals in war zones. I say let them handle it. We should not be funding that stuff. All right. Am I going to sound like an ogre? Kinda. But I'm tired. Like I've said it at least 3 times in the stream. I'm tired of fucking paying for it. I'm sorry people are suffering. I really am. But there's only so much we can do before we basically destroy ourselves. And we need to start thinking about that because we're 30 some odd trillion dollars in debt. It's not going to go away anytime soon.
Nope. That and it just so happens that personal credit card debt has topped $1 trillion.
Yep.
Yay. Like you said, Pop, a bleeding heart can only beat so many times before the organism dies.
Correct.
And we are a few heartbeats away from complete and utter bullshit, man.
Yeah, it's not going to be pleasant.
Nope. But let me break the numbers down here. 61.4 billion for Ukraine.
Uh-huh.
Of course, they go over the bullet points there. 114.3 billion for Israel. I cover that. 10 billion for humanitarian assistance.
Okay.
850 million for migration and refugee assistance at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Yeah, that's some bullshit right there.
Yeah, it's not like they're pulling, high-ranking FBI officials and all these other people off of high-ranking cases and high-priority cases to go down to the southern border and make sandwiches.
Correct.
I wish I was joking.
If we spent this $100 billion securing the southern border, it would be secured. But we can't seem to do that. And I'm getting tired of it. I really am.
Yep. It all sucks. We got 7.4 billion for Taiwan in the Indo-Pacific region.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to just, shit out another 100, 200 billion to help Taiwan when they decide to fight China? Like, what the fuck? God damn, this is bullshit.
And if we do get pulled into any kind of conflict, we have less than 17 days of strategic oil reserves.
Yeah, that's not good. And we have a volunteer military that's critically low on personnel. And all of the people, most of the people with actual war experience have retired or got out of the service because it's been turned into a loose gay, butt twerking queer sideshow.
Yep. But don't worry, the Army put out a new ad where it's all white dudes.
Yeah, we saw that. I saw that. I mean, it was okay. Yeah, but listen, in today's day and age, you really can't. It's really hard to put something out that's not going to be criticized by anyone. So it is what it is.
Yeah, More bodies to the meat grinder.
Yeah, hell, me and Blake, we could probably come up with a better goddamn Army commercial than that.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, we'd have to have some, some assistant probably from the Air Force and stuff like that, but in the Army, so we could film on bases and show who is shit, and we could probably put together a better commercial than the one they have. And let me tell you, I was absolutely ashamed at the Two Mothers cartoon commercial. I cannot believe that people in the actual military are like, that sounds good to me. Yeah, I mean, what the fuck is going on here? Holy smoking Joe Frazier. I'm sorry, I'm running my mouth too much.
There's not enough knife hands in the world to unfuck that situation.
No.
And they finish out the package here with $13.6 billion to address security at the U.S.-Mexico border. But yet they've been instructing federal agents to cut the razor wire, lift the razor wire with heavy machinery, all the while giving fist bumps to military-aged men from all sorts of places that we don't know where they were from or where they're going.
Yeah, people of military age. Not good.
No. Not good at all. But just to refresh everybody's memory during the very fumbled withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Uh-huh.
The list of military equipment the U.S. left behind for the Taliban.
And make no mistake, they have found some of this equipment in the hands of Hamas fighters. So what's going on here is that shit is now all over the Middle East. It's been bought, sold, stolen, what have you. And it is an extensive list. Let's go through this.
Yep. Got 22,174 Humvees. Got 634 M111 1117s. Got 155 Max Pros mine-proof vehicles. 169 M113s armored personnel carriers. 42,000 pickup trucks and SUVs.
Wow.
64,363 machine guns. 8,000 trucks, 162,043 radios, 16,035 NVGs.
That's a lot.
Yeah. 358,530 assault rifles. So they tossed down their 50-year-old beat up Soviet style AKs and got brand new M4s with ACOGs.
Right. But what's not on this list, and I'll just tell you right now, that number is for, AR platforms and such. It doesn't even mention like the millions of other confiscated old Russian era rifles that were found in the 20 years we're at war over there. Cache after cache was recovered, moved into warehouses. A lot of it was destroyed in place. But, that's a lot of guns.
Yeah.
And they're not on the books.
126,295 pistols, 176 artillery pieces.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
And I wonder how much ammo we left behind for said artillery pieces.
Oh, I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
It would make me sick to my stomach. We left 33 Blackhawks and Mi-17 helicopters.
Yeah. Well, the Mi-17, I believe those are Russian helicopters. So they could fucking keep that shit. Yeah. Why are we leaving like some of our top tier equipment behind? I mean, that's ludicrous.
Yeah. When the SEAL Team 6 went and took out Bin Laden, one of their helicopters unfortunately crashed, and they blew that son of a bitch up.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. And then mysteriously, a month later, a whole helicopter of SEAL Team 6 guys got shot down somewhere else inside the country.
Yeah. Kind of funny how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, you don't crash a helicopter and have a lot of people live. Just saying.
No. And for the smaller helicopters, we left 43 MD-530s. And then on to the fixed wings.
Yep.
We left 4 C-130 transports.
That's that's a travesty.
Yep. I got 23 Embraer EMB 314 A29s Super Tucanos.
Okay, those are, I believe those are smaller combat aircraft, aren't they? Or supply aircraft. What's the next
one? 28 Cessna 208s.
Okay, yeah.
And then 10 Cessna AC-208 strike aircraft.
Those are basically cheap ground support that's used by the, the alphabet agencies of, that, hey, well, I'm just going to say it. The CIA has their own army and their own air force. It's not as big as ours, but they have it. And those planes that he was talking about are on the list. They're basically cheap airframes used for ground support. There you go.
Yep. Ugh, fun times.
Yeah, this is turning into a huge clusterfuck. Now, did they tell you the value of the equipment that was left behind in Afghanistan in that? Can you see if there's a number?
Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
I mean, it's got to be a lot.
I believe the last I heard was like 8 billion.
All right, yeah.
Let's see here.
Why not? We could just leave 8 to 12 to 15 billion dollars laying around. Fuck it, no accounting. There's no accountability. No one's taking responsibility. This is utter horse shit in regards to Afghanistan.
Yes, it
All right.
is.
I talked to so many people who tried to train up the Afghan army to stand on its own 2 feet, and they were not motivated to do so. They gave no fucks, even if you were paying them. Why we just left all of this shit behind is beyond me. At a minimum, we should have destroyed all of the big ticket items. It's called scuttling. Leave the small arms just in case, they do want to defend themselves. But we shouldn't be leaving behind thousands upon thousands of military vehicles. And, it was 40 some odd thousand civilian SUV type vehicles left behind. This is lunacy here. Unbelievably stupid. And we're going to wind up paying for this down the road because of what our administration did in 2001.
Yep.
Mark my words.
Let's see. Some social media reports and social media posts have suggested that 85 billion in equipment was left behind, but this figure is misleading.
Well,
because of course it is.
So, okay, let's reduce it to 60 billion. Does that sound any better? Not really.
But there was still a vast amount of taxpayer-funded military resources left behind, according to an expert interviewed by PolitiFact. The real monetary value of the abandoned equipment and weaponry is likely closer to 10 billion.
All right. Well, I know that we built a lot of infrastructure there. That was all on taxpayer dime. We had civil affairs units building schools for women, doing all kinds of crazy ass horse shit. And a lot of those CA teams, when they got back, literally looked me in the face and go, we're wasting money because as soon as we leave, the Taliban is going to come down from the hills and all of this shit is going to be used for something else. And why we're spending billions of dollars to build buildings for, female schools is unfucking unbelievable. This is right from the horse's mouth from a couple of CA team leaders that went over to Afghanistan and did the CA job. That stands for Civil Affairs. All right.
Yeah, we definitely could have left about 10, 15 pounds of C4 in each one of those vehicles and at least tried to do something about it.
It's not that hard to scuttle vehicles. It really
No,
is.
no. And then you get the, a couple months later, we get the videos of Taliban fighters doing aerial maneuvers with Black Hawks and then crashing them into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, that, airplanes, what have you. Now, listen, you want to scuttle an aircraft, it's so easy. You just need one thermite grenade, and you throw it on one of the support struts for the wings. The whole aircraft's deadline. It's nothing but parts now. That could be done in 20 minutes.
Yep.
What? Oh, I cannot believe we left C-130s behind. I'm a big fan of the C-130 because I jumped out of one into fucking combat. Those things are incredibly robust. And I just have no idea what the fuck we were thinking.
Yep.
Mm.
And our final one for tonight, like we said, we are not taking either side. We are just sick and tired of paying for everything. And
Yes.
I'm just here to share some information that maybe you've heard, maybe you haven't heard. But this is from 3 days ago. But Israel's military bombs refugee camp and ambulance convoy in Gaza as anger mounts in Israel. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the bombing of the camp was to take out one guy. I mean, I can understand that if he's surrounded by people that support him and all this other stuff, but we're talking civilians here.
Yeah, but you got to understand. All right, in regards to the civilians, all right, I understand they're civilians. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
But the Hamas is the actual government for said civilians. So you get what you vote for.
Yeah.
All right. Now, does that sound crass and heartless? Yes, it does. But you got to remember, I've seen 3 wars come and go. I have seen the lunacy here. And in my opinion, war needs to be so brutal and fucking savage that we don't want to do it. That's the only way we're going to, basically cut it down as low as possible. Does that make me a savage? Maybe. Am I evil? Not really. I'm a realist. So all of these rules you put in place just makes it more comfortable for more people to survive to fight another war, in my opinion.
Yep. And these are just stories that have happened the past few days here. Israel vows to take security responsibility of Gaza after the war. Whatever that means, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Israel troops are advancing towards the heart of Gaza City. I've heard that they are kind of doing a pinch maneuver. They're coming in from the east, the north. And
I believe they already have. I believe they have the center of Gaza already surrounded. And there's been a bunch of, small unit actions in regards to Hamas attacking the Israelis through their tunnel network. Like I said, it's a Mount Sarabachi kind of thing going on. It's probably going to last several months. I could be wrong. Who knows? But, I basically made the prediction that Israel really wasn't going to do anything until after 14 days had passed, mainly because they had to call in all these reserves, which they don't even have enough equipment for, to be honest with you. They fucked up bad. And somebody's going to get fired over it. If you're going to maintain or say you have the capacity for an army of 500,000, 500,000 swinging dicks and meat flaps, you got to have enough equipment for these guys to give it to them when you call them back up. It's lunacy. It's insane.
And you mentioned people getting fired. I did hear that one high-ranking Israel official that called for dropping a nuke in Gaza got fired. So
Yeah. Listen, you don't want to be dropping nukes. I hope that we never drop any nukes. I know that we probably will somewhere. Some idiot's going to do it.
Yep.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yep. And we'll finish off the last few of these. Without Israeli hostages released, is there a chance for humanitarian pause?
No.
No.
Now, listen, Israel would be absolutely stupid to allow a humanitarian pause, because the minute you do that, the enemy is going to rearm, reorganize, re-equip, set up again. So when you finally lift the ceasefire, it's just that much worse.
Yep. Definitely going to get worse.
Oh, hell yeah.
Palestinians are fleeing south for safety as Israelis pray for the release of hostages. And it is also being noted that Egypt is telling everybody from Gaza to say, kick rocks, we're not taking you in.
Yeah. Now, listen, the Gaza Strip has been packed with refugees for 70 plus years. You would think, with all of these Muslim nations surrounding, that somehow they'd be able to absorb these individuals into their own countries, but they haven't, for a reason. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. But one thing I have seen is there was, I think, 3 senators floating a letter around the Congress building there saying, "Oh, we need to take in the Palestinians and all these refugees."
All right. Here's another thing. We've seen all of the pro-Palestinian, rallies and protests across the United States. It's literally at a lot of the premier colleges have had a lot of craziness going on. So what you're going to see in the near future is the liberal left Jewish community switching more towards the center, if not center right, to counter this craziness, because that's what it is. We've allowed way too many people into this country, especially the ones that refuse to adapt to the United States way of living, and they want to maintain all of their craziness that they had where they came from. Listen, if you can't make the adjustment, you shouldn't be able to stay here.
Yep.
Period. You need to be a net positive if we're going to let you come in here and live, work, get a green card, become a citizen. If you're just a net drain on the system, why the fuck are we letting these people in here?
Yep.
I'm sick of it.
And I'm surprised that the Democrats for the past 8 or so years, probably more than that, have been saying, "Oh, America's such a racist country and this and that. They hate brown and black people." Then why are they coming here if that's
Correct.
the case?
Yeah, if the white people here in this country were such tyrannical assholes, nobody would want to come here.
Yep. But just to finish things off here, my final thought would be there's a saying I heard a while back, and it's ringing true today. Immigration without assimilation is called an invasion.
Correct.
And that is exactly what we are in right now.
Yeah, it literally is.
And, all righty, gents. I think we just about covered everything there. I think we got a couple super chats here.
Yeah, let's roll through those.
Yep. Got a Game Hawk over on our Rumble. Is asking, saying, "Hey, Pop, I feel like a mushroom, kept in the dark and fed bullshit all day long."
That's exactly what's going on.
Yep.
Listen, I do my best to, read between the lines and give you just an estimate of what I believe is going on. And it's pretty scary when, I have to look at news sources outside this fucking country to help balance against the news stories that are released within this country to get anywhere near what's actually going on the ground. That is reprehensible. And so we need to do something about this. This is insane.
Oh, speaking about the media, apparently there were journalists on the ground during the October 7th attacks and whatnot, or whatever you want to call them. So, yeah, no matter how much you hate the media, it'll never be enough.
And no matter how much you hate the media, they hate you more.
Yep.
Because they're lying to you.
Yep. Moving on to Pixels GTAO, $5. Says U.S. is winning in Ukraine and on the cheap. It's pocket change to what U.S. gives them. Not enough to win, but not enough to lose. Key thing is artillery rounds, 155 millimeter. No one has enough of it.
Yeah, you're right. And listen, he's probably correct in the regards that we have, like, Russia has been severely weakened, militarily and on the world stage. It's going to take them decades to recover from this. So there's that. But I'm still sick of fucking paying for it. I'm going to be honest. I'm fucking tired of it.
Yep. Let's see. We'll jump over to MGTOW over here. Got Villainous Jack with $13. Is asking, has anyone seen a thing about the 80,000 IRS agents with guns being hired? Or has that been killed as well, or it has dropped from the news?
It's dropped from the news. They're still on board. So
Yep.
we'll see what happens with that.
Yep. I have heard some kind of rumblings that there's going to be a kibosh put on that, but I ain't gonna hold my breath.
Well, we'll see what happens because there's already case precedents of people who have already sued the IRS for being targeted for being conservatives. So if they keep along those lines with this new 90,000 agents, there's going to be all kinds of lawsuits. So we'll see what happens with that.
Oh yeah. Just double checking here. Still nothing over on YouTube. That's all right though. Got Professor Blake Pooh Ass Blaster 3000 over on Rumble. He says, I watch RTTV sometimes to see what they say.
So do I. But that is Russian propaganda. So what you do is you take the Ukraine propaganda and you take the Russian propaganda and then you weigh it. And then somewhere in the middle is where the truth is.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Just double checking. Nothing over on Odyssey here. I think we get a quick roll call before we get a.
I believe we had some super chats on YouTube, didn't we?
Nothing that I've seen.
Okay.
I didn't have nothing come in yet. So if there were any super chats over on YouTube, they did not show up on my end. So I apologize if we did have one and we missed them tonight.
Yeah.
But, we got 388 over on YouTube watching. We got 340 over on the Rumbles. We're on MGTOW.tv, the best chat on the internet, and that first picture proves it. Very nice. Got a 32 over there. We're on Odyssey. We've got 32 on Odyssey as well. DLive is rocking 5. Twitch has just dropped to 10. And Kick has 6.
All right.
Not too bad.
Again, the Wednesday shows are never that long. We usually cut them between an hour and an hour and a half long. Now, typically, this is where I would do a briefing for about 10 or 15 minutes. But there's really not much I could do here in regards to that. Other than the fact that I'm sick of fucking paying for everyone else's wars. I'm tired of being the police force for the world. I'm tired of just giving all of this goddamn aid to all of these other countries who only repay us with hate. I am sick and fucking tired of it, and so should you, because this shit is getting expensive. And I fear we are not going to be able to pay the bill. That's just my opinion.
Nope. I don't think so. But, Pop, I guess we can go ahead and do the safe brief for the night, and we'll call it a night.
All right. Now, don't drink and drive. Don't drink and swim. If you're going to bang, wear a condom and flush that shit down the toilet or take it with you. If you have to fight, I prefer you run away. But if you have to fight, do all you can not to go to the ground, because that is where you get stomped out. Rack up, pack up, stack up, travel in groups, keep your head on a swivel, maintain your situational awareness, and please stock up on food, water, and other essentials, because shit just might get real bad real quick in the near future. Be prepared. There we go.
Yep. It's like had Steve jump in over on YouTube with $20 Australian there. Says, well, thanks for the show, guys, but most of us are poor as shit. But thanks.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Totally understand me on that one there, good sir.
Most of the guys who watch this show have been ass raped and divorced, and they're paying child support or alimony or both. They just don't have a lot of money. I got it.
Yep.
I got it.
Totally understandable there, gents. But well, if things go as planned, there may or may not be a meme stream tomorrow night. Since Pop's going to go get his blood scrubbed and Blake's got tooth issues.
Yeah, well, I will be flying. I will be in an airplane by 7:02 p.m. tomorrow night. So, yeah, more than likely I'll clear out of here around 4 o'clock, so I could beat the rush hour traffic to the airport, park in long-term parking, and, fly out. It is what it is.
Fun times. So, yeah, gentlemen, if you guys want to join in tomorrow night, send in your memes to the Redonkulas email. We'll sit back and have a laugh because, well, we need a laugh right now.
Yes, we do.
Shit's getting crazy.
Yeah.
So, hope you guys join us tomorrow night. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Take it easy.